Hi, I'm Mrs. Marker, and I teach 8th grade science, and I'm going to share with you a simple little activity that my students always enjoy every year while we're all stuck at home because we don't need a whole lot of complicated stuff. And we're going to look at how I get this, which is butter, from this, which is some heavy whipping cream. So a couple of things. This is really a lesson about mixtures. So mixtures come in two different types. Heterogeneous mixtures, which I always like to put a little I, because the thing about heterogeneous mixtures is they are different, and you can see all the different parts of the mixture by looking at them. So here, we're just past Easter, and as you can see, we have too much candy left, but I can see all the different parts. So this is a mixture of different things, and I can see all the different parts of those things. And if I wanted to, I could pick them out and sort them into categories. The other type of mixture is homogeneous. And as you can see here, homogeneous is still a mixture of a lot of different things, but we can't see those differences when we look at them with our eye. So I've poured already. One of the things that you're going to need is just a water bottle. Of course, I just saved one that I had used. And so this is just some of this cream poured into this water bottle. And I'll show you you don't have to be exact. That's one of the nice things about this too. You don't need to get a lot of measuring. Just got to be very careful. You might want to get a funnel or have help. And you're just going to pour some whipping cream into the bottom of your bottle there. Now I will tell you that if I just took this out of the fridge, so this isn't going to work very well because it's cold, and you really want to let this sit out then for about 5 hours and make sure it comes to room temperature. This one I set out earlier, so it's ready to go. So I always talk a little bit about blood when we talk about this because blood is also a homogeneous mixture. So your blood is made up of plasma and red blood cells, and when they need to separate those, they're going to put them in a machine called a centrifuge, and that centrifuge is actually going to spin it around and around and around very fast until the parts separate. This is also a mixture kind of like that, and the way we're going to separate this out of it is we're going to shake it. Now in class, works in group of 4. We play a little YouTube music, and that's good for shaking. And so you're just going to start shaking it. And I'm going to pause the video here for a minute because this takes at least 2 minutes, and it could take a little bit longer. And I'll come back at the end. I'm going to show you this stage right here. I'm not there yet, but this is where a lot of people want to give up, because when you do this, you're not hearing anything moving in there, and it seems like it's just full of fluff. Believe it or not, that's whipped cream. If you stopped right here, put a little bit of sugar in that, you could put it on your ice cream or your strawberries, and it would be delicious. But you want to keep moving, so you're going to keep going even after you get to that stage, and you're going to keep on going. Okay, I've shaken it a little bit, and you can kind of see little spaces in there. You can start to see a little bit of a solid, but I'm still going to keep moving it because what I want to do is I want to keep shaking it until I start to hear liquid, and I start to see a liquid in there with that big clump moving around in it. All right, we're kind of there. Hopefully you can put this over by the computer so you kind of hear the sloshing around. That's what you want to hear. And you can see where I don't have the cloud up here anymore. Now I have a liquid, and I can see the clump. And when I do this, I can actually see it moving. And I'm just going to keep doing it just a little bit longer. I can hear all that liquid now, and I'm going to open it up, and I'm actually going to get a pair of scissors. Now I'm using my kitchen scissors, and you might need to want to ask for help for this part. And I'm just going to cut my bottle so that I can get the top off, and I can look down in there, and I can see the liquid with that in there, and I'm just going to kind of take a glass. I'm going to squeeze it like that, and I'm going to pour that liquid off. And we'll talk about the liquid in just a minute. Now, as you can see, I have a big clump in there, and all right, sorry, I thought I had everything over here, but I did not. I'm just going to have a little bowl here, and I'm going to dump the solid part, and I could have into there. Now you're going to see there's still a little bit of liquid. Now, You're going to want to get that out. You can just take your hand and you can squish it out. You can take a bowl of water and you can put it into the bowl of water. Now this should be cold water, and kind of rinse it. And if I was making this butter, because this was the only way I could get butter, I'd probably have a little what they call cheesecloth, and I would press it out. And then, because you're going to want to get all of that water out of there, so you should have washed your hands. Should be washing your hands anyway, because probably one of the reasons why we're in this situation. So we're gonna, and I have my butter here. Now, you could rinse it several times and push it and through a cloth to get all the liquid out that's there, because if I'm going to kind of see if you can kind of see right there, there's still a little bit of that liquid in there, and so you would push it until you did that. And in some cultures, especially, they would take molds like little lambs, think like Play-Doh, and they would make their butter into shapes to get a little bit of fancy. And this butter right here now is perfectly edible. It's unsalted. It may be that your butter at home has a little bit of salt in it, so you would want to be really careful if you're adding salt to make sure it's to taste and that you don't get too much salt in there. So this is butter. So we started with heavy whipping cream, and we separated it into these solid particles and this liquid. Now this liquid is not waste. This is buttermilk. So if you've ever heard of buttermilk biscuits, this is what they use. Instead of water in the flour mixture, they're going to put this buttermilk in there to make tasty biscuits. And it could be, I know my mother loved buttermilk. She would just drink it instead of regular milk. So you might have somebody in your family that really loves buttermilk, and that's perfectly drinkable as well. Now I took a moment to toast some bread. That was the beep you heard a little bit earlier, because one of the things that I love butter on is bread. Now when we do this in class, I usually bring crackers, and so they get to put a little bit of it on their cracker. And this is one of the few times we do a lab or an activity in class that they're actually able to eat the results. So we're all stuck in the house, hopefully. Just pick up a small container. This is a big container. You can pick up a smaller one. A little bit of heavy whipping cream, a bottle of some sort that has a lid so that you're going to be able to shake it. And pretty soon you're going to have butter and some buttermilk for your biscuits tomorrow morning. Stay safe, and I hope to see you soon back in class.